Welcome to Dirty Fanatics United.
Falcon fans, Falcon Nation, welcome back to another episode here of Dirty Fanatics United. I am your host tonight, C Money, as always, the founder of the podcast DFU. Hit that like, leave a comment. Our co-host here tonight are my guy, Cody, a.k.a. Matty Ice Baby. Ice, baby. And my guy, Robert, hashtag a.k.a. Mega Biff, is here to talk Falcon football. David will be with us very shortly as something he had to take care of before the show started. So expect David here in the next couple coming up moments, unless we hear otherwise. As always, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Today's show is called Matt Ryan named Falcons President of Football. Hashtag a new era in Atlanta. Falcon fans, tap in as we have a lot to talk about today. Before we get into that topic, Cody, the Atlanta Falcons ultimately beat the New Orleans Saints not once but twice this season to get the Panthers into the offseason. The Panthers find a way to fumble the bag. Cody, your thoughts on the Carolina Panthers officially being eliminated from the playoffs?
Man, that game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I will give Carolina a ton of credit. They hung in there, played them tough. That's one thing I think people forget was Carolina did beat LA earlier this season, which shocked all of us. Kind of wishing LA had done it the other way around because we're probably in the playoffs if they beat Carolina that one time. But it is what it is. You got to give Carolina a little bit of props. They did go in there. They did hang in tough. But at the end of the day, see, guys, no hard feelings. But no, you know what? Hard feelings because screw the Panthers.
Yep, absolutely. Guys, before we get too far into this podcast, hit that like button and be sure to hashtag DFU as we have 3 giveaways to do here on the podcast as we collect names. We have 5 entries so far. Let's rack that number up so you have a better chance of winning here. All you have to do is subscribe, hit a like button, and leave a comment. Really, you don't have to do any of that but subscribe and hashtag DFU here on the podcast. We greatly appreciate it. Appreciate everybody tuning in on YouTube and Twitter sides of things as DFU has grown quite a number here the last month. So a big shout out to all the fans that are tuning in. David, coming to you with the first topic of the night. The Atlanta Falcons announced Matty Ice. My bad. I went to the wrong direction. The camera got swapped up and it kind of threw me off there. Cody, my man, Matty Ice coming at you here. Atlanta Falcons announced Matt Ryan as the name football president of football here in Atlanta. As we said, hashtag new era in the A. Cody, we've come to you this topic of just what made Matty Ice the perfect candidate here in Atlanta.
Man, that's simple. Matt Ryan's a leader. He's been a leader since day one. I don't know what it is, but there are people that just have it, and Matt Ryan's one of those guys. Matt Ryan has whatever it is. He's a natural leader. He's a winner. He knows what he's doing. He's incredibly intelligent. I'll say, guys, his first play in the NFL is, an 80-plus yard bomb to Michael Jenkins for a touchdown. That will live, that will never – that just starts and shows you how great Matt Ryan is. This dude is one of those guys that you can get in line and follow. He's not sitting here screaming at you, hey, you need to follow me, you need to follow me. He gets in the huddle and you listen. He gets in there. Man, he's special. That's just the simplest way to put it, man, is he's just special. I could recall a Pro Bowl that Matt Ryan was playing in. NFC's down. You got a bunch of guys running around trying to figure out what's doing. And these, this is the best of the best. These are the guys that have been voted into the Pro Bowl for being the best at what they do. And what does Matt Ryan do? He comes in, he tells them, huddle up. This is what we're doing. and he goes in and he does his thing, and the NFC winds up going down and scoring, because that's who Matt Ryan is. He's a leader of men. He's incredibly intelligent, and I know there are a lot of people, well, this is the first time Matt Ryan's ever had this job. It's not the same thing. Well, it's one of those things, guys, is some people, it doesn't matter, experience or not. There are just some people that can just get the job done, and Matt Ryan's one of those guys. I've got full confidence in Matt Ryan. He loves this town. He loves this team. He's committed to this team. You couldn't have made a better choice, man. Not only from just I don't want to say eye candy, because, you see Matt Ryan, you're just like, man, that's our guy, so not only is that huge, but the leadership that you're going to get. I can't remember the exact words in the letter, that Matt kind of put that showed. He goes, look, I'm confident enough that I can get this job done. I'm more than confident that I can do it. But the other thing is he's like, I also understand the humility that Matt Ryan has is also coming out and saying, hey, look, I know I need people around me to succeed and do this. He goes, I've been at this table before. He goes, it's not a different table. It's not a different anything like that. He goes, it's just a new seat at the same table. And man, I'd say for me, that was it. I was sold before, but after reading that, I was like, that's our guy. This is the guy that is going to take this Falcon franchise a step in the right direction for the first time in a very long time. And I can't wait to see what he's going to accomplish here.
Shout out to Red Speedy Gonzalez with the first comment on tonight's chat. So what's up? New here. Shout out to you, brother. Glad for the comment. Hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe, as we are nothing but a bunch of diehard Falcon fans that are going to bring you breaking content and content covers throughout the offseason as you follow along here with what we like to call Dirty Fanatics United. So hit that subscribe button if you're new to the comment section. If you're new to the channel, appreciate your view tonight. Hit that like button, brother. Shout out to you. So yeah, Matty Ice announced president of football. Robert, your takes on Matty Ice, the official president of football here in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's the most logical move. I mean, he was our quarterback for 14 years, and like Cody said, he's been at this table before. It's just a different seat. He knows the X's and O's, and he graduated from Boston College with a business degree, so he obviously has the smarts there. And one thing that I think that he will bring to the table is, not just leadership, but Matt Ryan is tough, because over the years, this fan base has been, not everyone, but we've got a lot of people in the fan base that have been so overly critical. No matter what Matt does, no matter how hard he tried, to bring us a championship, it didn't matter to some of these fans. They were always going to ridicule him. They were always going to insult him. But for him to give up an analyst job on TV to come back to this organization to try to right what's wrong, that is commitment, and that is toughness. And that's what he's going to bring to this new role. And you're going to see a change in the culture very soon, boys.
Well, Matt, like he said in his press conference, he's a Falcon, and that's, no matter where he went to CBS. I think he mentioned he went to the Colts, but deep down, through it all, he said he's a Falcon, and that part right there, let me know that he's going to come in and he's going to take this position serious. When they had the comment that he was going to try to, do dual roles, keep his analyst job at CBS and, do the president duties for the Falcons. I didn't like that too much, but when he said that, if he gets his job with the Falcons, he's all in. He knows that he has some stuff to learn, and he's not coming in with the ego that, okay, I know everything about this position. And he says he got some smart people in his corner and around him that he can lean on those relationships that he have, through the league. And I think some of those relationships are going to, do him and the Falcons some good. From past coaches that he's coached, that have coached him, past players that have played for him that are going into the coaching ranks and everything that he might have relationships with. I think those, those connections and those relationships are going to do good for the Falcons.
Absolutely. Hashtag DFU to get your name entered for the chance of a raffle here. We're giving away a Falcon hoodie. My guy, Rick is giving away what was it that Rick had?
Julio bobblehead.
The Julio bobblehead. And then there's also the giveaway of a Falcon flag from my guy, David. So, guys, we're giving 3 things away here at DFU. All you have to do to be entered is be subscribed and a hashtag DFU. It's free, guys. Why not? Hashtag DFU to be entered into the raffle. Guys, we speak of a new era here in Atlanta, and that's why the topic of the show is Matty Ice named Falcons president of football, hashtag a new era in Atlanta. When we speak about a new era, what exactly is a new era in Atlanta, and why was this hire different than any other hire in the past operations in the Atlanta Falcons front office? Megabit for coming to you with this question. Why is this hire different than previous hires here in Atlanta?
I think it's a lot to do with the familiarity that Matt has with the organization. The last few hires, as far as president or even GM, usually came from outside the organization. Rich McKay was involved with the Bucks. Thomas Dimitroff, I think he came from the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. Matt knows what needs to be done to improve, on things from a football standpoint. He understands the culture. It was the most logical choice. And, kudos to Mr. Blank for taking the necessary steps. I mean, I'm sure it was met with criticism because, like they say, Matt's never been in this position before. But, like I said earlier, it's a new seat at the same table. He's bringing the familiarity in, and he knows what the organization's about and what it's going to take to get them back in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that the worst place that you can be is those middle of the road teams. We're good enough to win 7, 8 games, but we're not, that next step, 1 or 2 more games, we're in the playoffs, or 3 more teams and we're getting the top 10 pick. So, we're sitting here right in the middle of the road, and I always think that's the worst place that you can be as a football team. So, Mr. Blank, I think he felt that, and he just kind of felt like, I can't continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. So let's strip this thing down. Let's try something different. And this new president position, is that, all the fan base, not all, I would say most, did want to see Rich McKay not anywhere close to the Falcons. And now this is supposed to be Mr. Blank letting the fan base know that, okay, this is where the buck stops at with the Atlanta Falcons. This president football operation position that we're giving Matt Ryan now, that's where your line is drawn from everything else I got going on in the entertainment part of my business to the football part. These are my football people. These are the people who are going to make your decision. And that's Jesus. Yeah, and that's what I think the best part of it coming out of this is.
Yeah, and I think Robert and David both make good points. It's why is this different is because you do have familiarity with Matt Ryan. You don't have somebody coming in from outside. Go watch the video of Matt Ryan where he talks about what it means to be a Falcon. If you want to get fired up and understand why Matt Ryan understands what it means to be a Falcon, he comes out and says it. He's like, you have to earn it here in Atlanta. And nobody went out and earned it more than Matt Ryan did in his 14 years here as our quarterback. Matt Ryan went out and earned it. So Matt Ryan understands the culture here better than anybody that we've ever brought in. And to David's point, you brought in a guy that has actually played the game of football at a high elite level who understands the game. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to sit here and throw Rich McKay under the bus. I think that's done enough. I'm glad to see, that he's taken his, responsibilities and taking them elsewhere. But you finally have a football-minded guy in a football-headed position. Matt Ryan is that guy. Matt Ryan understands football. He understands players. He understands coaches. He may be new to the front office, but again, like Robert said, graduated with a business degree from Boston College. So that means Matt Ryan understands how business works. Matt Ryan runs organizations. So Matt Ryan understands what it takes and the dedication that it takes to run things and be successful. Nobody has got more of a winner's mentality than Matt Ryan. He held himself more accountable than any Falcon player I think I could ever think of. Every time the Falcons lost, what did Matt Ryan do when he went up to a podium? He goes, that's on me. I've got to be better. I have to do this. I have to do that. Never talked about how teammates needed to step up. It was always Matt Ryan taking responsibility for everything. Not the coaches, not coaching problems, not, we couldn't, stop the runs, like we couldn't stop a nosebleed. Matt Ryan got up there and took responsibilities. That's why why it's such a different hire, is because you've got a guy, one, who's humble enough to know that he needs people around him to be successful, because he knew he needed people like Julio Jones around to be successful. He knows that, hey, I'm not, I may be one of the smartest people at the table, but there are other people that have this knowledge too. And I think that's what makes this so different, is that, one, Matt Ryan understands what it means to be a Falcon and the attitude of this team. And then at the same time, Matt Ryan also is one of those people that can see that there are problems and will go fix problems.
Absolutely. Shout out to Room here in the comment section with a new viewer here tonight as well. Give a round of applause for the new viewers here tonight in the chat, guys. Hit that like button, leave a subscribe. My guy Room says, also new here, caught the last show and subscribed, watched a few older shows. Good to see a show with real fans. That's not all negative. That's the goal here with DFU, bringing you happy, even when it's bad and rough times, good, friendly content about your Atlanta Falcons, as we're not the type to bash players here on the show, as we'll have our spew on a certain player here and there every now and then throughout the podcast, but it's a very good reason for that bashing. So definitely, man, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. We have 30 live viewers here tonight, guys. Hashtag DFU is all you have to do to be entered in this chance to win a raffle giveaway here on the free giveaway with DFU. Hashtag DFU, that's all it takes. We should have 30 hashtag DFUs in the chat, guys. Next topic here, guys, and it's more of a back to reality type of topic here, as the Atlanta Falcons do hire Matty Ice as the football head of operation, or president of football. It's such a weird name. But anyway, president of football, Matty Ice. Short-term expectations. It is Matty Ice's first time in the front office. It will, likely take some years for Matty Ice to succeed very well in this position. Now, Matty Ice, already a very well businessman, as he has been with CBS now. He knows a lot of outside people now that have ties with the football world, been around the league a pretty good bit the past 3 years. Matty Ice. So the question is, and we'll start with you, David, here on this topic. What should fans realistically expect right away with Matt Ryan in his first year as president of football? Obviously, David, there is some big hires to be made here. There's a head coach, there's an OC they got to find, and they got to find a DC if they don't retain DC Jeff Ulbrich. Although it was stated the Atlanta Falcons blocked the Dallas Cowboys from interviewing Jeff Ulbrich, and Arthur Blank did state in his news presser that he would obviously let the new head coach find his own people, but it would be heavily influenced or talked upon of keeping Jeff Ulbrich. David, what is the expectations this year for Matty Ice in his first season as president of football?
The floor, I'm going to go and do it. The floor is the playoffs. We're 8-9, a game out of the playoffs this year. I don't already built roster, in my opinion. So it has to be playoffs and busts. I know that it's not going to be anything detrimental, but me personally, I expect to see this team in the playoffs next year. We gotta. It has to flow. I know, like I'm saying, for me, it has to be the playoffs. We'll step out of the playoffs. This team is on the verge. It's talent field. I can't see the team go backwards. And I know that's some lofty expectations coming in, year one, but I would like to see them hit the ground running.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad expectations out from David, because mine are the same. like David said, this team is talented. We were one win away against a 3-13 Jets team, or beating Carolina Panthers once, and being in the playoffs, or finding a way to beat the Colts, or finding a way to beat the Patriots from being in the playoffs, guys. I mean, we weren't that far off. So my floor is NFC South champions, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it needs to be NFC championship game or bust. But, some kind of playoff push, definitely some kind of push. You don't want to be the team. You don't want to be Carolina like Carolina was tonight. You don't want to get in, sneak in, however you get in, because right now that's all that matters to me. I don't care if we do it at, 8-9, if we do it at, 10-7, I don't care. Just get into the playoffs. And then at least go win one game for me. That's my floor, a South championship, and at least a one playoff game win, because that's what this team can do.
Hey, Chase, can I jump right in right here and answer what Mark said in the chat?
Absolutely.
We're not saying that it's going to be because of Matt Ryan, but I'm just saying the regime that he's brings in is going to be his people. I'm talking about the overall, the GM, the coach, wherever players they play, get to, bring in the signings and everything. We know Matt Ryan's not on the field playing, but we know that the football has been put in his hands to go ahead and get his people in there, get it. But we got to get these positions right. Like I said, we know that he's not going out there playing or anything, but that's not what I'm saying with my comments. But we're talking about the people that he brings in. He got to get it right.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I'm sorry, Robert.
No, you're fine. Go ahead,
I'll jump in real quick too. And if that's the attitude that's going to be about, well, if Matt Ryan's not the reason, well, guess what? If we miss the playoffs too, that's not on Matt Ryan either. If that's how we're going to,
I feel like there's going to be there are you guys, as soon as like things don't go Falcon fans' ways, you're going to have that. You're going to have that. So expect that.
But let's keep it a buck. It's if we're gonna be fair about it. If Matt Ryan's not, I mean, guys, if with the team that Matt helps put together and we go deep in the playoffs, and it's not Matt Ryan, it wasn't Matt Ryan that took us there. Well, then it's got to be the opposite side of the coin too. Then it's not Matt Ryan's fault if we don't make the playoffs. It's the roster's fault. I just want it to be fair, if we're going to do that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And, my expectations are the same too. I do expect a playoff push. As far as the short term goes, as far as Matt's duties go, he's going to have to, bring in the right people. The GM search, the head coach search, the coordinator search, it's going to be done very carefully. And I think the main thing in order to make this happen, to make sure that we do make that playoff push, the one thing that has to really be done in the short term is get the right people in here to help fix the situation at quarterback. Kirk's not going to be here. Penix is, out with an injury, and the prognosis is looking good. It's looking like he'll probably be ready, but just in case, we need to get a good, smart GM in here, and good people in here that will, work together as a collaboration to fix the problems. And quarterback right now is the most glaring problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So speaking of fixing the problems, the Atlanta Falcons have completed interviews with Anthony Weaver, the DC of Miami, and completed interview with Clint Kubiak today in Atlanta. Announced right after Matty Ice was hired that he would go into work. Initially, right when he signed, the Atlanta Falcons did just that and completed an interview today with a head coach. David, you had some questions earlier in the chat, which I could lean on and agree to a highly standard. The Atlanta Falcons interviewing head coaches before they actually interview the GMs, which they did say. See, that this is where the crosshairs are at, because they did say that a lot of the candidates for interviewing for president of football would also be interviewing for the GM position. So you can kind of expect one of those guys to be the I guess the pick. I mean, you're not interviewing no other GM. I think that's it, right? That was all the GM. Now we're down to head coach interviews, right?
I'm not sure. I hadn't heard anything about that. But yeah, I was saying that the comment that I made is, it feels like exactly what, the fan base was upset with Raheem and Fontenot. You put the cart before the horse. I know you go ahead and get the GM in place so that, everything can flow. He's just saying that he needs people in place. Let's go ahead and get the make the announcement for, if you've done all the interviews and stuff right here, let's go ahead and make the choice. I pretty much felt like they had, their wish list of who they wanted, to put in the positions anyway. Everything else just seems like it was just, okay, we got to go through the process. I think at this point, I don't think it's a surprise to any of them at Flowery Branch who they want to put in the position and who they're going to make the offer to. So, just don't draw it out. Go ahead and, this is not happenstance. You didn't let Fontenot go, who has shown success, if you didn't have a plan of who you want. It's just not, we're finna pluck somebody out. You let Fontenot go, who is built, who I think is probably the best roster that we've seen for the Falcons in the last, 10 years since the Super Bowl run teams. This roster is the best. They gave the job to Fontenot and Cap Hill, and he's dug the team out. He's put a very competitive roster on the field, and they let him go. I pretty much think that they have an idea who they want to put in that position already.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, I'll just go ahead and say it. I think that Ian Cunningham's the front runner. He interviewed for the president of football position, and
Yep.
I think he was either the first or second one that was interviewed. There was one other guy, I can't remember who it was, but to David's point, I think that they've already got someone in mind, and I think that they should make that announcement pretty soon and let the new GM be a part of selecting the new head coach.
Yeah, part of me kind of wonders though, because we've got John Harbaugh that's sitting out there, and I know some reports came out that, oh well, he wants $200 or $20 million, no problem for me. Arthur Blank's got a big checkbook, he can write that check. And then I saw something where he wanted to handpick his GM. So for me, I'm kind of not wondering if our GMs, because out of the 7 or 8 teams that called and interviewed, apparently there's only 4 teams really in the running, and we're one of those 4 teams.
Cody, real quick. Falcon fans, if you're just tuning in now, hit that hashtag DFU to get your names in this giveaway, as we have reached our number high of podcast viewers tonight. Hashtag DFU in the chat to be entered for a giveaway of 3 different items here: a Julio Jones bobblehead, a Atlanta Falcon hoodie, and an Atlanta Falcon flag. Hit that hashtag DFU in the comment section.
Yeah, and so, like I was saying, I don't wonder if our GM hire doesn't come just a little bit later, because I kind of feel like that's, we're a pretty exclusive group there. John Harbaugh obviously could go wherever he wants, and if I'm not mistaken, that it may come down between us and it was either us and the Giants or us and Miami. There you go. I would say. So part of me is like, I don't wonder if maybe they wait a little bit, get that interview done with John Harbaugh first, and then that GM comes. Again, I know, like to David's point, that was kind of, putting the carriage before the horse. But for a guy like John Harbaugh, that's got that stability that he brings, because he was with the Ravens for 18 years, and I know a lot of people are like, well, yeah, okay, he was there for 18 years and all that stuff, but couldn't win with Lamar. He's only got the 1 Super Bowl. Well, guess what though, guys? Like, John Harbaugh's got a Super Bowl. He knows it. I think he's also somebody that would really actually help Matt Ryan out quite a bit, because John Harbaugh was with 2 of the better GMs while he was with Baltimore that the NFL has. So it's, again, I think it's going to be real interesting to see which brick falls before. Is it the head coach? Because I don't think if we see a GM hire before we see the head coach, I don't think John Harbaugh's coming in this building. However, if
So
we
here an article broke today, Cody, and that since you're on the Harbaugh situation
know,
right now, an article broke today that John Harbaugh obviously would not take any interviews until the following Monday of
right.
next week, and also another thing broke out that John Harbaugh was doing exclusive and extensive film review on Jackson Dart and quarterback Cam Ward of the Tennessee Titans, and then the Atlanta Bird Game released a list today. Obviously, the news broke that the Atlanta Falcons were highly interested in the John Harbaugh situation, but from what I see here on the 2026 head coach interview request, Vance Joseph, Kevin Stefanski, Clint Kubiak, Anthony Weaver, Jeff Hafley, Rob Sala, and Brian Flores. No John Harbaugh on that list.
I think, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. I imagine John Harbaugh is on that list. It may not be reported, but there's no way that you don't give him an interview. You just don't. You don't bring in you don't not interview the best head coach candidate that's out there right now. In my opinion, I could be wrong. The Falcons could be looking at it and being like, "Look, we've got a plan. We know what our plan is. We're gonna go." Because I agree with Robert. I think the guy from Cunningham. Yeah, Cunningham, I think is probably the front runner for our GM. So unless there's like a dead set plan that the Falcons have, it was hire Matt Ryan, hire Cunningham, and then go, with Clint Kubiak or go, Stefanski. It's gonna be interesting though, just to say the least.
Yep, I agree.
Question, Chase.
Robert, go ahead, David.
Chase, on those interview requests, are those because they're with another team already and they have to request permission to interview?
Maybe.
I think that's the case for that list. I think they already.
They did say the Atlanta Falcons were highly interested in John Harbaugh. They were aggressive in the search, what they stated them and the Giants. So, that's probably what it is.
I think that list is because they're already connected to the team and they got to ask that team for permission to interview those. I think that's how that list reads.
Yeah, I agree. Shout out to Sean Pickens. He says he's a new subscriber here with the hashtag DFU. All the guys with the hashtag DFUs, you are entered in the raffle so far. We have Sterling, Aries Falcon, Ricky Smith, Super Cantrana, Red Speedy, Room, Jay Black, and Mark Smith. And now Show Pickens 8941. Falcon fans, hit that hashtag DFU to be entered in the free raffle here as we give away 3 Atlanta Falcon items on a live podcast. As soon as we get about 25 entries, we'll do the live giveaway. Jay Black says, interview Harbaugh and bring and Kubiak. I prefer Kubiak at this point. Robert, your thoughts on the comment as you guys toss this around as I write down these guys' hashtag DFUs.
Well, Clint Kubiak would be an excellent head coach, I think. I think he's earned the shot to be given a chance to be a leader of men. His offensive pedigree is pretty good. I mean, the Seahawks, I think they led the league in 30-point games this year. He's been a name that's been in the circles for quite a few weeks now. But and again, Harbaugh, it may come down to the demands that were printed out, and then again, that may be something like with any other type of if you're looking for some kind of new job in the NFL, I mean, this could be just a ploy for leverage or to see what team would actually bite on this. Whether he'll want the actual $20 million, I don't know. Whether Mr. Blank or any other owner would say, okay, if you want to pick the GM, fine, come on board. Hard to say, but it's just hard for me to really fathom, Harbaugh having that kind of ego. He's never shown it, but then again, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We're just seeing what's being reported. But personally, my personal choice would be Harbaugh first. Kubiak would be a very close second.
Yeah, on that $20 million that he asked for, I think that I did look up, his salary from last year. It was $17 million that was made for the Ravens last year. So, $20 million is pretty much in his realm already. So, I don't, that's not part of the salary cap. Mr. Blank has plenty of money He can write the check with ease. So I don't think that's going to deter. That part's not going to deter whether he comes in here. And when I look at all these coaching candidates and everything, I put them in two buckets. Somebody who's going to come in here with a great scheme and a great offensive scheme, I would say, because that's what we're lacking, or somebody that's going to be established and somebody who's going to come in and try to work on developing a culture that he brings with him. I think Harbaugh is known for the tough nose approach. He's hands off on the offense and the defense, and he let those people take care of their position, and he runs the team. But that's what we either gonna choose. We want that great offensive mind that gonna come in and push the offensive to a new level, or just somebody like Harbaugh who's gonna come in and be someone who runs the team. So that's those two buckets that we're gonna put people in.
Yeah, my bad.
I'll say, $20 million, like that's walking around money for Arthur Blank. I don't think he has a problem writing that check. And the other thing that we have to kind of look at is you have to look at the guy who put out that report. To me, maybe that's not John Harbaugh's expectations for every team, because that guy, I can't remember the guy's name, but I know he's out of Cleveland. That may be what John, what Harbaugh's demands are for Cleveland. That doesn't mean that that's necessarily his demands for every team. And also to Robert's point, if it is, maybe this is John's way of being like, hey, I'm going to shoot for the stars and maybe I land on the moon, So to me, it's not unrealistic expectations for a guy like John Harbaugh. He's got the experience. He's got, he's a guy that can come in and, change the culture of your football team. And I think he honestly really works really well with Matt Ryan, because like Robert said earlier, Matt Ryan brings a toughness, to this front office that I think John Harbaugh would absolutely match.
Well, it also was released that the moves will be made through Matty Ice. Like they're going to report to Matt Ryan before anything is done as far as head coaching, hiring, offense coordinator, defense coordinator, all that mess. So my thing is, who has the closer connection to Matt Ryan when it comes to head coach candidates? Is it John Harbaugh or is it Clint Kubiak, the young Shanahan tree style offensive coordinator, head coach? Which one do you guys think in Matt Ryan's shoes? In Matt Ryan's shoes, they will come to you first with it, bounce it back to Cody, then Robert. Is Clint Kubiak the better selection for a Matt Ryan Operation Football, or is it a veteran 18 seasons straight, or what was it, 14 seasons straight with the Baltimore Ravens? John Harbaugh did. Who collaborates better with a Matt Ryan in Atlanta, Clint Kubiak or John Harbaugh? Of
course, the offensive mind. Matt Ryan's former quarterback, offensive guy, and I think that the obvious choice would be the play caller type coach. Chase, can you pull up Jay Black 142's last comment? That kind of jumped out at me. That statement right there makes a lot of sense to me. I can see why he thinks like that. Just say that we get a McDaniels since he's been fired, we bring him in, and we have an all-time leading offense. That's going to be the first person that somebody tries to pluck away from the staff. And if we get somebody in who's going to be that play caller, I never really thought about it like that until he made that comment, which makes a lot of sense to me, that, the offense doesn't stop because of coordinator leave if the head coach is the one who's calling the play. So
which initially why the Kansas City Chiefs have had such a great they do have an OC, but Reed is the one calling those plays in Kansas City. Cody, back to you with the initial question. Clint Kubiak or John Harbaugh, who has the closer ties to Matt Ryan in that situation? If you're looking at who does Matty Ice think that he can go to and collaborate with when it comes to head president of football and head coaching collaboration?
Well, I imagine with Matt, it could be either one of them, to be 100% honest with you. I think maybe closer to John Harbaugh just because, Matt played, during the deeper parts of John Harbaugh's coaching career there in Baltimore. But again, to David's point, I could see him meshing well with Clint Kubiak because Matt Ryan did play on the offensive side of the ball. He was arguably, top 10 quarterback. And I think Clint and him, very well may be able to, mix and match real well together as being, great offensive, a great offensive play caller, obviously, like we've seen him, Clint Kubiak do in Seattle. And, obviously Matt Ryan's, resume speaks for itself. Man, it's tough because I think Matt can work with anybody. That's my thing. I think Matt's, got the smarts and the ability to do all that stuff. So for me, it's kind of hard to be like, oh, well, he would work best with this guy. Really, I think you could put anybody in the room with Matt and he'd work with them well. Just because that's how Matt Ryan is. I mean, let's think about it from a player's perspective. I mean, Austin Hooper comes to Atlanta, Pro Bowl tight end, numbers jump off the pages. He leaves Matt Ryan, nothing. Mohamed Sanu comes in here. Now, Mohamed Sanu was good, before and after Matt Ryan, but his numbers really jump with Matt Ryan. Same thing with Roddy White. Roddy White, struggled with Michael Vick, comes in, Matt Ryan comes in, then Roddy White, Hall of Fame wide receiver, in my opinion, with Matt Ryan. So I think it's just one of those things is I think that's one of the best reasons, that we brought in Matt is because he can work with multiple people and elevate people because that's just what Matt Ryan does. He elevates other people. So, but I did like the comment about, you kind of want that offensive coordinator, head coach kind of guy because, I think this is where Matt Ryan comes in huge for us. Who had to change offensive coordinators all the time? Matt Ryan. He had a new offensive coordinator. I think he averaged a new offensive coordinator every 2 to 2.5 years.
Yep.
And I think Matt Ryan's going to be the kind of guy to be like, hey, I went through that. I'm sure he probably hated it because he had to sit there. It was constantly adjusting and it never staying the same. So I think that's also a great thing that Matt Ryan will be like, hey, let's find a way to keep this guy here. So our young quarterback in Michael Penix, because I don't think that experiment's over by any means, can come in and develop. And again, I think that's where, you have this John Harbaugh comes in. He was a quarterback. He develops quarterbacks. He turned Lamar Jackson into a 2-time MVP. So like I said, I'm just excited to see. The possibilities are endless, dude.
Yep, absolutely. Shout out to Shano. He says, not worth 20 mil and complete control though.
Yeah, that's the one thing that, I was kind of thinking, as far as the, negotiation process. And, to Cody's point, that might have been just something that he threw out at Cleveland because who could blame him? I mean, the front office decisions of that organization for as long as I can remember, I mean, are these people on crack? I mean, my goodness. I mean, Baker Mayfield was balling and you let him go to bring in Deshaun Watson, who brought all that baggage with him. I mean, yeah, I'd throw that out there myself. But back to the actual question, to Cody's point, I think that Matt could work with anyone. I think what it'll boil down to, though, is during the interview process, I'm sure Matt's going to ask every coach that he interviews, what is your plan? If it comes down to a veteran like Harbaugh or a younger guy like Kubiak, depending on that answer, what's going to be better suited long term. Because, John Harbaugh's, he's not the youngest guy out there. If Kubiak, comes in with a good answer and says, I'm committed to this long term. I've got a plan in mind, to make this offense explosive. If we're talking long term, I think that Kubiak might have the edge there.
Yep. My guy Marksman says John Harbaugh will bring Todd Monken with him. Shout out to my guy Jay Black. He says, "Panel, I have to go. Thank you for the show. If I had to stay to win, just pass on to the prize to another contestant. Rise up." The giveaway will not be announced tonight, as we'll do it later on, maybe a couple of weeks down the road, as we wait to get more enters on the free raffle, as we need at least 20, and we're like right at 8 right now. So get your hashtag DFUs in for the live giveaway on a show to come. I will give the announcement soon when the giveaway will be. So give your hashtags in the comment section. My guy I hope I'm saying this right. Shanu,
Show
maybe
enough.
show enough. Okay, show enough. My bad. Show enough. I see it now. Maybe John is setting the bar high to weed out teams he's not interested in, but we'll see. Shout out to Show enough in the comment section. Randy Payne said, "Dirty birds fly." Rise up, brother. Glad to have you in the comment section tonight. Chat, if you're new, if you're tuning in for the first time to DFU, hit that subscribe button as we have grown tremendously in the past 2 weeks. All thanks to you guys for hitting the subscribe button. So please bring the love and share the love and hit that hashtag DFU in the chat. Leave a subscribe, like, and bring the comments to the panel. Shono says, need explosive playmakers. That means changes because we had slow, unimpressive receivers right now. He's got a point. Robert, we'll come to you with that topic there, as that's a great topic. What must the Atlanta Falcons fix this offseason? If you were the GM for the Atlanta Falcons, if you were Matt Ryan, what is the one position you're looking at heading into the offseason, whether that be in free agency or a draft pick? You don't have a first rounder. Just keep that in mind. What would you do if you were Matt Ryan? What's the first position you fix here in Atlanta? Obviously, a lot of looming situations you could fix here in Atlanta. Robert?
Quarterback definitely is the first thing because, in all honesty, I mean, yeah, Zach Robinson's offensive scheme was not the greatest, but the last few games, you know, with Kirk stepping up, I mean, he had to kind of get back into a groove a little bit. Chances are he's not going to be back. And of course, you know, we don't know for sure, you know, what the healing process for Penix is going to be. So quarterback, I think, has to be the number one priority. But to the point on that last comment, yes, receiver has to be the number two because outside of Drake, and if he gets hurt, you know, and like say, you know, even though Kyle's a tight end, you know, if we let him walk, you know, that's going to be a huge blow. We have got to get some explosive playmakers at receiver, plain and simple.
Absolutely, Robert. You make a great point when it comes to that. David, your first pick, if you're Matty Ice, what is the main position that you have to get correct this offseason to make it past the 8 and 9 hump the Atlanta Falcons just can't seem to put in four-wheel drive and climb over?
Best available between a wide receiver and cornerback. You know, those are the two positions that we gotta, you know, attack and have on the field next year. So, you know, I don't know how that's going to fall. Best player available, wide receiver corner with the second pick.
Yeah, no, I agree. Man, part of me is kind of like offensive line too. Because Jake Matthews is getting long in the tooth, guys. And it kind of showed. I think I don't want to say that he was gassed that last game against New Orleans.
Chase Young, BTA.
I mean, yeah, he put a hurting on him. But honestly, I think if you're gonna do it, it does need to be wide receiver or it needs to be a corner too. But while we're here talking about corners and stuff like that, we're talking about, you know, the secondary. We got to give a shout out to D. Alford, boys. I know that was a guy that a lot of us were pretty heavy and hard on, you know, about he needed to step up, and boy, did he. So I think, yeah, I'd have to go wide receiver because, like, outside of Drake London, I mean, you've got Kyle Pitts. I don't think Kyle's going anywhere. He'll either be free, you know, he'll either be re-signed or we'll tag him. But it's going to be, I mean, I don't know, man. I'll just say there's a lot of problems I'd like to fix, and it's tough to do that without that first round draft pick. But man, I wouldn't want that first round draft pick off of what we got for it between Xavier Watson, James Pierce Jr.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. Absolutely. Shout out to Randy Payne, the new subscriber here at DFU, says, great job, young man. Just subscribed. Shout out to you, sir. Glad for the view tonight. Leave a like. Be sure to ring that bell so you know when we go live because we have crazy schedule times right now. We will get you an official schedule as the weeks move on, but right now it's all breaking news. So random podcasts throughout the week we did 3 back-to-back podcasts this week, guys, putting the content out there, guys. So be sure to subscribe and ring that bell. My guy Mark Smith says Kyle Pitts mode, second team All-Pro, as they did announce today. Kyle Pitts did make the second team All-Pro, as well as a couple of other Falcon. I can't remember that list. I didn't screenshot it.
Pitts,
But
Bijan,
Lindstrom.
Watts, and Lindstrom. Yeah.
Watts made it?
Bates.
Jesse Bates. That's right.
Okay. Yeah. So, damn, Jesse Bates did make the Pro Bowl this year. That's crazy. I didn't think he was going to make it this year. But second team All-Pro makes the list, so shout out to that. With the last closing out topic of tonight's show, guys, this will be the last topic, and we'll start it off with Cody. The Atlanta Falcons have a quarterback situation in Atlanta, right? Kirk Cousins, with the contract restructure, obviously is bound to be cut and let loose from the Atlanta Falcons, leaving you on and only Michael Penix, a couple of backup squad players on the practice squad. So there is a quarterback position that must be filled. If you're the OC, or if you're the head coach and the GM, and you're looking for a quarterback to get you over the hump until you think Penix is ready to take the field again, whether that be a mentor process for Penix a couple of years down the road, or a season or half a season, whatever it may be. If you're winning football, if you can find a quarterback to win you games, what quarterback stands out to you to fill that role until Michael Penix is ready to hit the field once again?
Man, for me, it's Justin Fields, man. Of course, it's Justin Fields. Get out of here with that. Justin Fields. No, for me, it's Joe. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this one, but Joe Flacco, no pun intended there. I wouldn't mind seeing Joe Flacco here, because then, again, you got to think, if you could get a Joe Flacco, who Matt Ryan is very familiar with, who plays under center, which, with Zach Robinson being gone, I guess that really doesn't matter too much. I would like to see that, just because I think you could get him cheap. Joe Flacco has shown that he'll play for cheap, or he'd probably play for veteran minimum. So it helps to the salary cap, and he's just a good bridge quarterback at this point for me. So I kind of like to see Joe Flacco here. I think he brings like that good balance. I could see him playing under center. I could see him. He understands. He's a decent quarterback. I don't think he's going to cost you an arm and a leg. I'd like to kick the tire on Joe Flacco, see what you can get out of that.
I agree. I'm on board with Flacco too. Watching how he filled in for Joe Burrow this year in Cincinnati. I mean, he's proven he could still play. He can still, read defense pretty well. He can still get the ball down the field. And a lot of the Bengals' issue was defense and injuries. I think he filled in very nice. And of course, if Penix isn't ready, or, God forbid that, this injury take a horrible turn for the worse or what have you.
I don't want to lead this conversation into a different direction, but do you guys think, when they announce that Penix is healthy and he is 100% ready to go back out on the field, when the training staff says Penix is ready to go, do you think the new coaching staff and regime will put, if you have a quarterback that's in place and he's winning games, you're above 500 or you're at 500, do you sit that quarterback and start Penix?
Penix starts week 1 this year.
Penix starts week 1. Hot take here. You heard it first, David Ellison.
Well, his recovery time puts him back on his feet and release in August. Season starts in October.
Okay, that that Penix back, baby.
He's back. So that's
okay. I can rock. Hey, David, if that's the case, I can rock with it. We just find us a decent backup. We can go with a Joe Flacco for a backup, or a cheaper option like Tyrod Taylor or Malik Willis, which would be a great backup to have, just somebody to sit on the roster and let him learn behind Penix. So if Penix did come back, that would be crazy. So David, that question goes to you now. It's you're in the next slot here. You're not grabbing a starting quarterback. You're waiting for Penix, and you're going to ride it out with Penix as the starting quarterback.
Well, like I say, if they'll know early in the process, whether he's going to be back on his feet. I know if we sign a quarterback that's going to get in and play, it won't be in free agency right now. It'll probably be if they see that he's not going to be back through the summer through mini camp and all that kind of stuff. We may have to sign somebody late, but I think they're going to shoot for him to be back on the field week 1.
Okay. Love to hear it.
Well, I hope that's true. I hope that he is able to come back because it was a tear in the opposite knee, so it's a possibility. But what I would hate to see is them rush him back, going he's good, and him not be good. Now I think that's probably more of a Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot problem because we saw him do that with Kirk when he was hurt. Keep pushing him. When Koo's hip was banged up, kept pushing him out there, pushing him. So I'm sure Michael Penix is tough. Like, don't get me wrong. I know he's tough. I've never torn my ACL. I could not tell you how long it takes. I couldn't tell you how long it would. All I can tell you is stories that I've heard. And I've heard that when you tear it, it takes you a while to get to feel comfortable. And it takes you a while to feel better. So as much as I would love to see Michael Penix start week 1, I don't want you going out there. If you're 99.9% sure that he's okay, I need it to be 100% because I think this kid has got some talent. I think he's a good quarterback. Matt Ryan's a huge believer in Michael Penix. And so I would hate for you to go out there and run the kid because you couldn't be patient or you couldn't, that's the only thing that worries me a little bit. But if he's good to go, run him out there.
Yep. Headed to the comment section real quick. Show Enough says there's a vet somewhere they can bring in. Tyrod or Wilson, a younger one like Willis is cool too. Mark Smith says he thinks the timeline of Penix will be September. JKid_CEO says Penix will miss at least 4. JKid CEO says he's going to miss all training camp, lose all continuity with offense, and won't be able to fix his current issues such as mechanics, etc. David's got the hand up. He wants to respond. David, coming to you with it.
The ACL injury, a blessing and a curse. It's the confidence in the knee. When he gets off the surgery table, the knee is going to be sound. And the only thing about getting back on the field is the confidence and trust in the knee. And I think being that he's gone through it before and he already knows that the knee is sound, he's already had the injury on the other one, and getting back comfortable and the confidence to go out there and do what you can do and know that the knee is sound, being that he's been through it before, I think that's going to be to his advantage to trust the knee a little quicker than somebody who has probably gone through it for the first time. I've torn my ACL, and then the whole thing about it is trying to get back on your feet and trusting the knee that it's going to be okay. But that's my take on that.
Well, and not to bring up nightmares for Braves fans, with the Ronald Acuna, ACL tear. Was that his first or his second one when he tore it? Was it so? And it took Ronald, as great of an athlete as Ronald Acuna is, not doing quite what, Michael Penix will be doing. It took Acuna a while to get used to having that knee, even though, and so again, it's, I hope David's right. But I pray to God that David's right, that he's going to have that confidence and be okay with it. It's just, I don't want to see him, it's between the ears is what I'm worried about more than anything. Not necessarily his body holding up. It's the between the ears thing, to David's point, the confidence and all that stuff. I don't want to see him get broken that way because, we
you don't want to see a Desmond Ridder situation.
Yeah, you do. Exactly.
Robert, anything you want to close that out with before we give our shout outs for tonight?
I did see a comment just a minute ago about multiple injuries to the other knee, and it's tough to come back from, and just don't want to, like I said, we don't want to have a situation like we had after Todd Gurley spent all that time with the Rams and the injuries he had, and then he comes back to Atlanta and he's not the same Todd Gurley. I mean, it's possible, and that would be a worst case scenario. So hopefully it's not. That's not how it turns out. Hopefully he will be ready to go. And to Cody's point, a lot of it is the mental issue, and to David's point as well. A lot of it is mental. The confidence that you have to have, in your own body, and what you're willing to put yourself through.
Absolutely. Falcon fans, man, we appreciate all you comments, guys. You guys have brought the comments tonight and kept the podcast rolling as we have entered about 4 new people tonight on the hashtag DFU giveaway raffle here with DFU. All you have to do is hashtag DFU. There's 40 live viewers. Let's get some hashtag DFUs in the chat, baby. Hit that hashtag DFU. If you don't want to enter the raffle, just do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe. And definitely ring the bell so you know when we drop breaking content. Cody, we'll start the shout outs with you, brother, and then we'll pass it like we always do. Cody, starting with you.
Yeah, we'll start it like we always do. Shout out to God. He woke us up one more day, put air in our lungs so we could sit here and use it to talk about Falcon football. Other big shout out to Arthur Blake and the Atlanta Falcon organization for the first time since we beat the Packers in the NFC Championship game. I cried tears. Which doesn't happen often because we brought Matt Ryan home. So, shout out. No, I'm just kidding. But, shout out to them for making the right decision. This felt like a step in the right direction for the first time in a long time. Shout out to you boys, coming on a Saturday night, talking Dirty Bird football. This is something that I look forward to every time that we get one of these things scheduled. It's just like, man, I got to go hang out with the boys for an hour and talk, just talk Dirty Bird football. It's, I love our chat, group and, but getting on and coming to talk to you guys, it's a blast. So, shout out to you guys. Always shout out to, the new viewers, keep liking, subscribing, doing those things. We love doing this for y'all because without y'all, there is no DFU. We have no reason to get on, do the computers, take time away from our family to come talk. If you guys aren't watching, but y'all are showing up big and that means a lot to us. So, keep doing your thing. We're going to keep doing giveaways. Still trying to get in touch with Mike Johnson. I tried to get a hold of Tori McElhaney so we can bring people that are close to the organization so you guys can, have that connection to talk, comment at Mike Johnson, to talk to Tori. I'm pestering Matt Ryan too. I don't know if that's ever going to shape up, but we're trying, boys. I'm on him like ugly on an ape, dude. I'm tweeting him every day trying to get him to answer, but
so good.
So shout out to, the viewers, man. I was saying, of course, shout out to my wife who, allows me to come in and do this thing. But other than that, guys, rise up.
Real quick thing to Jay Black, because he did leave earlier. The giveaway will be in a couple of weeks. We're going to get a lot more hashtag DFUs before we do the raffle since we're giving away 3 items. We want to have at least 20 entries, and we're at like 8 right now. So it'll be a couple more podcasts down the road. I will make the announcement soon. So be sure to ring the bell so you know when we drop content. And do the free giveaway here with DFU. Gator Texas boy in the chat says, what it do, DFU and Falcon family, the new era is here. LFG. Let's go, baby. Rise up. Robert, coming to you with the shout-outs, dog.
Well, shout out to the good Lord above for another day. Any day above ground is a good day. And, just exciting look at the future for the Falcons and just finally, like it's been said, I think Mr. Blanks finally had enough of mediocrity and, it was a bold move on his part, but, it's an exciting time to be a Falcon fan. And as always, shout out to you guys for letting me be a part of this. It means the world to me. And, shout out to our viewers, our new subscribers tonight and our new viewers. Welcome to the channel. We're glad you're here. We do this for you. Shout out to, of course, the Falcons themselves. They're our main topic and they're the reason we do the show. And always shout out to my family, Brianna, Peyton, Zach, and Christy. I love y'all. And as always, rise up and welcome back, Maddie.
Welcome back, Maddie.
As always, we'll start out. Shout out to the good Lord above, family, and Falcon football. That's how we do it over here. Everything decent and in order. Like I said, just welcome back, Matty Ice, to the organization. As I shared with you guys earlier, first course of action after you get the GM and everything in place, reach out to Julio and fix that relationship so we get him in the Ring of Honor.
Yes.
A receiver coach, maybe? That would be sweet. That would be crazy. Falcon fans, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight, man. Hit a live high of 41 tonight of live viewers. So shout out to all the new viewers, all the old viewers that's rocked with us throughout the years. Shout out to you guys for being here. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Ring the bell when you know we're dropping content. Falcon fans, do yourself a favor, guys. You're going to love the hoodie. It's a throwback hoodie. I haven't ordered it yet because I'm going to get it to your size. So all you have to do, guys, is hashtag DFU to enter the raffle. It's going to be a Falcon throwback hoodie to your size. My guy Rick with the Julio Jones bobblehead, and my guy David with the Falcon flag on the free giveaway. All you have to do is hashtag DFU. It's such an easy giveaway, guys, and you will get some merch that you will appreciate here from DFU. So shout out to that. And my guy said, Red Speedy said, yes, welcome back, Matt. Welcome back, Matty Ice. And that's how we'll close the podcast, man. Shout out to you guys for tuning in tonight. Shout out to you, awesome panel of co-hosts for coming through tonight to talk some Falcon football. It's always a blast to talk with the boys, as Cody said, hanging out with the fellas for an hour here at DFU. That could be a caption, guys. Hang out with the fellas for an hour here with DFU as we cover Atlanta Falcon content.
Put it on a shirt.
Just put that on a T-shirt. Falcon fans, hit that like button, man. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to the wife and the kids in the living room. Shout out to the good Lord above for providing me a new job here for the new year to come, guys. We have a new job, new goals to make this year, new dreams to reach. So shout out to the good Lord above. Shout out to the fam. Shout out to everybody that tuned in tonight. And shout out to 82 Monte Carlo said, DFU XL, send it, LOL. We got you down in the raffle, brother, as I'll write it right when this podcast ends. So shout out to that. Shout out to all the raffle enterers tonight. Shout out to the Atlanta Falcons for bringing back that man, Matty Ice, here, officially a part of the franchise for years and years and years to come. Shout out to Matty Ice and the Ice Cubes for making their landing back in Atlanta to hopefully end his career, guys. He can retire a Falcon once again here in Atlanta. So rise up to everybody that tuned in, man. If you're just tuning in now, check the live show after we end this stream, and be sure to leave a comment. We'll get back to you in the fifth quarter here at DFU. Hit that like button, man. As always, A-Town down, rise up.